Yo, what's going on everybody? Hope everybody is doing well. Today we're going to be talking about Dante and my Dante Viral Historian build. With this build, we are pairing the Helminth ability Nourish with the Warframe Dante. I've only formed my Dante twice, which is really not bad at all. And I also do have 5 Archon shards on Dante. Ever since Dante came out, he has been literally a top tier Warframe, and he'll probably always be a top tier Warframe because his kit is just absolutely insane. So with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and begin by talking about his passive. His passive is actually based on his exalted weapon Noctua. Enemies that are killed by Noctua are scanned into the codex. Enemies that are killed by Noctua are scanned into the codex on death, and each death with the Noctua will actually count as one scan entry, and every enemy type that you completely research and get into the codex will receive a permanent debuff called Chronicles Mark, and this buff is specifically for Dante's weapons as well as Noctua itself, giving an extra 50% status chance whenever you fight the scanned enemies. Having a passive that just straight up gives you extra status chance and also permanently debuffs specific enemy types is an absolute goated passive to have, and whenever you actually use Noctua, you'll notice this passive activating quite a lot. But for this build in particular, we don't really notice it at all because I actually replaced his first ability with the Helminth ability Nourish. Nourish is one of, if not the best Helminth ability in the game, and pairing this amazing ability with an amazing Warframe like Dante just helps him cook even more. And that's because Nourish actually has 3 different buffs. Any damage taken while this ability is active will result in a viral explosion that does viral damage and applies a stack of viral to enemies that are hit by the explosion. All energy sources give extra energy, and all your weapons get a viral damage buff. All that in one ability, still absolutely top tier even after the nerf. And this ability specifically on a Warframe like Dante is super amazing for all those Dante players who are looking to use his abilities to constantly get kills and just pretty much clear the map with his abilities. Very fitting for a Warframe like Dante. Next up, we got his second ability, which is called Lightverse. With this ability, Dante draws a circle of protection that actually grants overguard to Dante and allies in range, and it also increases your max health. And on top of that, whenever you actually cast this ability, you are invulnerable for a whole 1 second, but that 1 second could be really clutch if you need it to survive. An ability that just straight up gives you and allies overguard, increases your max health, and can make you invulnerable to damage. Yeah, that is just absolutely peak. Next up, we got his third ability, which is called Darkverse. With this ability, Dante draws an X with 2 strokes from his quills. Each stroke does slash damage with guaranteed slash status, and it also applies a light stagger to enemies in front of you. This ability right here is going to pave the way so you can actually cook with Dante, and that's because of his 4th ability, Final Verse, and all that it has to offer. 2 pages are needed in order to even cast Final Verse, and you can see the pages above the abilities on the bottom right. Using Light Verse or Dark Verse, of course, will fill in a page, meaning that there are 4 different effects this ability has. 2 Light Verses turn this ability into Triumph. Triumph gives overguard to Dante and allies instantly, and each kill or assist that Dante or his allies get will actually regenerate that personal overguard. With 2 Dark Verses, we get the Tragedy ability. Tragedy inflicts slash damage and staggers all enemies within range. And on top of that, whenever you actually hit an enemy with this ability that already has a slash, heat, or toxin status damage over time proc on them, all of those slash, heat, and toxin procs will be instantly consumed into a single burst of total damage. A light verse followed by a dark verse makes Word Warden. This ability summons a spectral version of Noctua that does 50% of the original Noctua's damage and fights alongside you and your allies. And then a dark verse followed by a light verse makes Page Flight. This ability summons 3 peregrine birds that have high threat levels, making enemies target them over you and your allies. And these peregrines fly around dealing slash damage, staggering enemies, and they also make enemies more vulnerable to status chance, and they can increase the status damage that you do to enemies affected. An absolute crazy ability. Let's go ahead and go over the mod setup that I got on Dante. I got Brief Respite so I can convert energy into shields. I got Stretch for extra ability range, Streamline for extra ability efficiency, Primed Flow for extra energy, and then I got Umbral Intensify for extra ability strength, Blind Rage for extra ability strength, and Transient Fortitude for extra ability strength, and then I got Primed Continuity for ability duration, and Overextended for ability range. And then for the arcanes, I got Arcane Energized so I can have a chance of getting more energy every time I pick up an energy orb, and then I got Molt Augmented so I can increase my ability strength by a small amount that stacks all the way up to 250 times whenever you get a kill. This setup right here is so fun to use, especially because of the dummy range stat that's on Dante. Pairing all of these amazing features with the Helminth ability Nourish is a sure way to constantly use all of these abilities in the first place thanks to that energy multiplier, and on top of that your weapons will be doing even more damage, and you'll be doing more damage to enemies that get hit by the viral explosion. Dante is just such an amazing Warframe, and with a build like this you can absolutely cook in any activity. It's pretty awesome. That's pretty much going to be it for this video, guys. Let me know what you think of Dante and my Dante viral historian build down below. Before this video ends, real quick, just wanted to say thank you guys so much for all the support on the channel. You guys have been going crazy with the support, man, and I really do appreciate it. And yeah, guys, that's going to be it for me. Keep your head up, stay positive, and with that being said, thanks for watching.